Welcome to the Wellness Biz Academy, where we turn passionate practitioners into profitable practice owners. I'm Duffill, corporate business strategist and naturopath, showing you how to build a thriving practice with simple, proven systems that work. Let's create the practice that you long to have, because it's time to start living your passion and growing your practice. Hi everyone and welcome. I'm so excited to have you back here today. I have an amazing guest for you to meet today. I've got Zoe Douthwaite here, who is from Clarity OBM Services. Now, she is who we need to talk to today, because she's going to share with us how we can outsource parts of our business to help us grow more easily. This is something that many of us know that we need, but many of us avoid doing for many, many reasons. So we're going to chat this through today with Zoe and get some great tips on how to bring this into our businesses. So Zoe, welcome. Tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Zoe, as Cass said, and I have been running my own business since I was about 23 with my husband for a good 13 years. And then sadly, my husband passed away. And I was left with my 4-year-old and my 7-year-old to bring up. Had loads of business knowledge. But I also realised that I didn't ever have any time off in that business. I didn't feel confident enough to be able to have somebody come along and do my job. In fact, I thought I was the only person who could do the job. So I looked at my skill set. I didn't want to go into corporate because I wanted to be there for my boys. It was very important that I picked them up from school. I wanted that flexibility that working for myself offered me previously. So I started up my own virtual assistant business. And then I felt, gosh, I'm giving far too much away here. I'm much more than a VA. I don't just do, I ask, why do you do that? What's the outcome of the end? So I started to train as an online business manager. I worked for a few people doing that role, and then I became certified. Now I teach people how to confidently outsource in their business. And I help them to just realise that they don't have to do it. And when they don't, they work in their zone of genius. It's amazing, because your energy is better and you're pulling in better clients.
Yeah. Awesome. And isn't it interesting how life leads us in certain ways? I'm so sorry for your story and how you got here, but how amazing that you were able to rejig your life and make a new plan that allowed you to be that stay-at-home mum figure whilst having your business and being able to take care of your family. I did the same thing. So, been there looking after the kids, and I get it completely. So tell me, when we're talking about outsourcing, let's talk about the kinds of things that you think entrepreneurs in our realm could be outsourcing. Where should they be starting?
So first of all, I would look at what you do in your week, and I would write it down. Really, it take a little bit of time to write the task down. And then at the end of the week, have a look at those tasks and highlight them in different colours. And those colours that are orange are tasks. I'm just using orange as an example. Those colours that are orange are tasks that you can do. Green are tasks that somebody else can do. And then yellow are tasks that you don't even need to do. But why are you doing them? And those green tasks that somebody else can do, then have a look at those. And if you want, write down some systems that make that task happen. So you have like a set 1 to 10 or 1 to whatever, however many steps it is to get that task completed. And then I would perhaps I would have a word with people in my networking and say to them, do you know anybody who does this? And yeah, we know that there's VAs, we know there's copywriters, we know there's marketing, but they might have somebody that they know that does exactly that skill set for you. And that's when you start to outsource.
And look, that's a really great point there, because I think until we can really dial into what we do, I think a lot of what we do on a daily basis is very even automatic, because we know these things need to get done. We know we need to send an email. We know we need to write a blog post. We know we need to post on social media. And we just find snippets of time and throw these things out and get them done. But those are things that could be handed to somebody else to free us up to do the things that are more important in our business. So do you find that there's a certain time that is a good time for people to start outsourcing?
I think what would be a really good exercise for the listeners to do is to work out how much they charge an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and then say to themselves, would I pay somebody to do that marketing for me that much money? I could probably get somebody to do that marketing for me for half that price. And not forgetting, they're probably able to do it in half the time. We're all a bit time poor, aren't we? So if you think about that, then goodness, you'd hire in a second, wouldn't you? Because you wouldn't be paying a VA $120 or upwards an hour. Yeah, that's how much your time is.
That's right. When we've got people listening to this podcast that are traditionally natural health practitioners, they're therapists, coaches, etc., when they're looking at charging their time out, and let's just average it out here, let's say $200 an hour, well, they're spending their time doing marketing, social media, making things in Canva. Those could be outsourced for anywhere between $25 and $75 an hour. And that hour of time they've spent on that, they could have taken another consult, another client. So I think
Exactly.
it's about putting on that CEO hat, isn't it, and making decisions that are more rational, instead of from that point of view of, okay, I know I can do everything, but just because you can do it all doesn't mean that you should.
No,
It's a
not
matter
at
of
all.
staying in your zone, isn't it, doing what you can do well. Now, one thing I've had trouble with over the years of being an entrepreneur is finding the right help. I've been let down by people. I've had recommendations that didn't turn out to be the right person. Have you got any tips for us on that, on how we can find the right people? You did mention reaching out to our networks, and that's a great way. Is there any other ways? Where would you start?
So I think what's really important is that you understand what skill set it is that you want that person to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's no good you saying, I want a VA, and then you find somebody who's not actually very good at social marketing, if that's the VA you want. So you work out the skills then you need to interview these people. I'm going to set a time 2 days, and I'm going to interview 4 or 5 people for this role. And it's really important that you do that. It sounds like it's a lot of time out of your day. If you do this, you will find somebody that you will gel with, that will have your philosophy, because you can ask them what their philosophy is. You can ask them for testimonials, examples of work. Just because if I said I was a social media VA, my posts might not resonate with your audience. So, you want to make sure that you get somebody who really resonates and understands your audience. And I would also set out really good communication channels with them. Now, are we going to use WhatsApp? Are we going to, what channel of communication do you use? And then obviously the crux of it is the pricing and the contracts. So that's sort of like the final bit. But actually, if you're with somebody who who you really gel with, then I'm sure that the pricing wouldn't be that much of an issue.
That's right. I think if it's something that we need and we find the right person to do it, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer at that point, isn't it? That this person has to come on board and help us out. So we've worked out how we can find this person, how we're going to interview them and find somebody that we gel with. So how would we be managing projects with this person? Is there certain tools and software that you find useful?
Well, I use Asana because I think it's a really nice platform to just start to build out those projects. And also what I love about it is that once you've got all that stuff in there, next time you do that launch, or next time you do an email campaign, it's all there. It's all written there, and we just need to change the dates. And you could start using Asana on your own and start using it, so that you get to know it. And then you can start putting your processes on there. And then when you're ready to take on a VA, or you're ready to use a copywriter, all you need to do is add their email address to the task, and they can do it for you. And it may even be enhanced, because that person's that person's got some more experience.
It sounds like it can be a lot easier than I think a lot of people in my audience might be thinking, to be able to take on somebody to help them out with these tasks.
That don't be scared that what you're doing you might think isn't right. Don't be scared that that you've got all these screenshots or all these pieces of paper at the end that you couldn't possibly give to a VA. That's what we're here for. So take screenshots, send them to the VA, say, look at my mess, sort it out for me. That's what we do best. VAs, OBMs are really good at that. Really, really strategic thinking, really pulling it all together for you. We pull it all together and then we come back to you and say, what is this right? Where's the piece of paper number 2 that you missed?
I have to say the irony in what you're saying right now, because I'm still writing in notebooks. And I rejigged my business last year, changed my entire office suite, updated my messaging, my niche, and I did it all in a notebook. Do you think I could find that notebook today? I spent over an hour going through everything trying to find said notebook. I found it. It's okay. But now I need to screenshot it and send it to someone who can organize it for me, because that's my entire business model in a notebook. And I misplaced it. So I can see so clearly the benefit that you're talking about there, having someone take that, organize it, put it in a format where we all have some access to it. And, I think the other thing that people in our audience can be benefiting from too is email campaigns and nurture sequences that you've put together. You're building programs and courses. And I know that most of them are building them natively on the platform that they're using. Now, you all know that I'm having major glitches with my platform at the moment, and I'm having all these problems. I have lost bookings, automations have just disappeared, all sorts of things. And luckily, I do have copies of those in a Trello board. But for those of you that don't, if you lost some of your automations, your lead magnet sequences, your course outlines and your modules, what would you do? So I think it's a really nice learning here to get someone on board like Zoe or a VA to help you put that into some sort of organized context in a different space, just in case the worst ever happened.
Yeah, I would definitely advise putting your email sequences into a Google Doc. And the other beautiful thing about that is that when that first email sequence has gone out and you've metriced everything, which is another thing that OBMs do, they look at all the metrics, who opened it, who clicked through, who bought from that particular email. Then those emails that are on the Google Doc can be easily shared with a copywriter who can floof them up. You just need to give them access to the email campaigns. You don't even need to have them on that suite that you're using to send your emails out. Once you get into the habit of creating it on the Google Doc and then having somebody look at it, and then then it going onto the Asana, it's very easy, and rinse and repeat.
We've discussed some really great tips, and I think we've given people some good things to start with, so now they know the kind of things that they can be outsourcing, how to go about finding and interviewing the right person, and how to be starting to hand over that content so there's some productivity. So I think that's really valuable. Before we wrap up, Zoe, is there anything else we haven't covered that you think is worth mentioning?
I would just really like to say that sometimes you can feel like you're not the leader and you don't know where you're going. And in a business, you're running a business, you're doing it, you're doing the do. So take on that confidence, bring it through to the people that you want to employ or that you want to freelance to. Because, I know your business is your baby. Everybody's business is their baby. But you're not letting control go by bringing other people in. You're allowing yourself to grow your business. You're allowing yourself to free your energy up to better service your clients. That's really why I'm so passionate about people to outsource and use all the people around you to grow your business.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing I've seen to be true over the years is when you start to outsource and bring other people on board, your business grows more quickly than it could by yourself. And that's just case in point, whether we're talking about the entrepreneurs and practitioners that have physical clinics, you take on a receptionist and all of a sudden you get busier, you can see more clients. Take on an assistant and again, you've got more time because they're taking other tasks. Then those of us who are working predominantly online, if you have people on board that can take care of marketing projects, emails, etc., so you can just do what you do best, which is help clients create amazing offers, create amazing transformations, I think you would grow much more quickly that way.
I think if you look at people who are maybe 2 or 3 levels above yourself, then you know that's what they do.
That's right.
So yeah.
They've all
Yeah.
got teams, don't they? Be them small or be them large, they've got teams. So I think it's something that we all have to be looking for. So look, Zoe, it's been a really interesting conversation, and I know that I've taken some things out of it that I'm going to go and implement in my business, and I'm sure that my audience has also. So thank you so much for being here. So how can people best connect with you? And we'll put some links in the show notes.
Oh, fantastic. I am always hanging out on Instagram, and that is Clarity OBM Services.
Fabulous. Well, we'll come and connect with you on Instagram. I'll put your website in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here. Look forward to having you on again soon. Thank you for listening to the Wellness Business Academy podcast with me, Cass Duffill. If you are interested in growing your practice, come get my free guide, The Practice Success Toolkit, at cassduffill.com or grab it in the show notes. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.